Good luck to it. People had to be more careful, and rightly so. But there was a cousin of mine, and this guy is about the same age as me, and he's a very wonderful person. Matty, we think a lot of him in the family. But, you know, he had a bit of a problem drinking. He had a bit of a problem. And when this thing came out, he made an announcement for all of us, all his relations, to come up to the house. He had an announcement to make to us. And we weren't sure what he was going to say. But anyway, we went up there, and he stood in front of us, and he says, "You people," he says, "are my flesh and blood. And I love you all." And he says, "You know that I have a problem with the drink, and I need your help." He says, "With all this thing about driving and drinking," and he says, "sometimes in the past, I have been careless, and I may have driven, perhaps when I had a drink too much. But from now on," he says, "I've changed my ways, and that's it. I'm finished driving." He says, "I'll drink, but I certainly will never take a chance to drink." And I have to say, in fairness to him, all over the Christmas period, he came home from the pub every night drunk, but walking, just walking. All through the New Year's into January, every single night he came home scuttered, but walking. And all through February, Lent, every night during Lent, home drunk, but walking. And we were so proud of him. But then Easter Sunday, that's when the bubble burst. He had been drinking on Easter Sunday, and he was on his way home from the pub early in the day. It was in the afternoon. He was either been drinking in a well-known pub close to the city of Galway, and he was either been in there drinking, and he decided, that's it. So he's walking home. He's walking home. He lives in Limerick. And he's walking home, and apparently, as he came through the town of Clarenbridge, he was coming through the town, and he noticed a very large gathering of people gathered around the river at the bridge. And they were being addressed by a preacher. What would you call an evangelist was addressing the crowd. And Matty decides to join in. And he gets in among the crowd, and the evangelist calls a gentleman. "Gentleman here," he says, "with a pinstripe suit, come forward." And the man comes up, and the evangelist says, "Hallelujah." The man says, "Hallelujah." And the evangelist says, "Do you believe in God?" The man says, "I do, sir." He said, "Saints be praised." And the evangelist put his hand charismatically on the back of this man's neck, and he pushed his head forward into the water. And then he pulled it back out of the water again, and he said to the man, "Did you see Jesus?" The man says, "I did, sir." He said, "Saints be praised, hallelujah. Satan is renounced here today." And he pushed him aside, and he called another man, and he put his charismatic hand on the back of the man's neck, and he pushed his head forward into the water and pulled it back out again. "Did you see Jesus?" The man says, "I did, sir." He said, "Saints be praised, Satan is renounced here again." And he went through 20 or 30 men and women, and Matty was getting itchy feet. And Matty comes forward and stands in front of the evangelist. And the evangelist knew, looking at him, this could be a problem. He knew by the look of Matty, this fella's either having a few sherbets, and I'm going to have a problem with him. And he says, "Hallelujah." Hallelujah. "Do you believe in God?" "Because I do." "Saints be praised." And he put his hand on Matty's neck, and he pushed his head forward into the water, and he pulled it back out again. "Did you see Jesus?" "No." So now the evangelist has to think, and he figures, I'll try it again, but I'm going to have a problem. This time, he said, "Hallelujah." "Hallelujah again." "Do you believe in God?" "Because I do still." "Saints be praised." And he put his hand on the back of Matty's neck, and he pushed his head forward again into the water. A little further into the water. And pulled it out again. "Did you see Jesus?" "No sign of him at all." Now the evangelist has a serious problem. And this time the evangelist reacts. And he grabbed a hold of the back of Matty's neck like that, and the hair and the shirt and the collar, and you could almost hear the evangelist saying, you'll see him this side. You are drunken brat. And with that, he pushed his head into the water and he put his foot on it like that. And he held his head under the water for 4 minutes. Everybody's fascinated. All they can see is bubbles coming up everywhere. Bubbles all over the place. They thought he was drowned, and then he pulls him back out. He says, now, did you see Jesus? And Matty says, are you sure? Are you sure this is where he fell in? This breathalyzer thing, and I know that everybody's aware of it and everything else, but girls, you'll appreciate this. I went out recently with my wife, and I did say to my wife, I'll be the designated driver. You should have the few drinks yourself. Wasn't that the right thing to do, girls? I said, you should have the odd drink, I says. Odd drink, I said. Forgetting for a moment that 11 is an odd number. And 15 is an odd number. Come 6 o'clock that evening, she was footless. She was footless. She couldn't stand up straight. So I poured her back into the car. We're heading out the dark road, and I could see in front of me about 200 yards, the hand up. You can't miss the checkpoint, come on. You can see it, Garda, and you'll see the blue tit going around on the top of the car, and I can see, stop! So I came up beside him, and he walks over to the car. And this is the thing about this new thing that they have in the Garda. When they stop the car, get the head in the window. So they can get a sniff. And now the sniff in my car that night, my car must have smelled like Guinnesses from the amount of drink that she was at having. So the guard puts the head in the window, and he said to me, have you taken alcohol? And I don't know what came over me. I decided I'd have a bit of fun with him. You see, because it's a long old night, and I figured, if nothing else, it'll cheer him up. Because they have a great sense of humour, the guards, as you know. Especially the traffic corps. So, when he asked me had I alcohol, I kind of said, he took his head out the window fairly quick. He nearly took the head off himself trying to get it out of the window. Have you taken alcohol? I said, I'm having half a bottle of gin. 7 pints of hydration. Bottle and a half of fuck. 11 tins of Bulmer's cider, to which nothing is added but time. Half a giraffe wine. Well, his reaction to that was incredible. There was another guard with him. He was stopping cars coming this way. And my fella said, John, come on here, man. Look at this big James, have a look at this, like. This, I have to see this. He said, could you repeat that now to this guard here? And I said, I can't remember. Well, he read me the riot act. I must warn you that the question of a prosecution will be considered under section 51A, 52 and 53 of the Road Traffic Act 1961 as amended by the Road Traffic Act 1968 and further amendments since 1972, 73, 74, CIE, BBC, RTE, UTV, TV3 and... He says, you'll have to blow into this bag. And I said, why? Do you not believe me?
Seven Up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Cumain in Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
character. You know it when you see it. The new Avensis adds further refinement to the car that defines its class. A powerful 2-litre engine that delivers over 60 miles to the gallon and the lowest road tax. And 3 years free servicing on every new Toyota car registered by January 31st. The 2012 Avensis. Strength of character from Toyota. The best built cars in the world.
As a skin specialist, the products I recommend have to be proven to work. That's why I recommend Head & Shoulders for unbeatable dandruff protection. And now Head & Shoulders lets you try it for yourself. This is a proof strip. It's simple. Head & Shoulders for unbeatable dandruff protection that's making heads happier.
Disney on Ice presents Worlds of Fantasy. Your favorite stars from 4 fantastic Disney adventures. Tickets are on sale now.
The PC World sale is now on with massive savings like the 6GB HP laptop with a faster, smarter Intel Core i3 processor down to $449. Or this HP laptop offers a visibly smart Intel Core i5 processor and 750GB hard drive for $499, €200 off. And buy any laptop and save €30 on Microsoft Office Home and Student 2010, now just €89. The PC World sale, online now, doors open 9 a.m. St. Stephen's Day.
Cost Plus Sofas. Doors open December 27th at 10 a.m. for the winter sale. And we're celebrating with €850 of savings coupons. Look for them in the paper, online or in the store. Amazing store-wide savings. And finance all interest-free till March 2013. Winter sale starts the 27th of December. Savings coupons first few days. Don't miss out. In Cost Plus Sofas and beds, etc. In all Cost Plus Sofas.
Don't forget to turn the lights off.
I won't.
Even at the home of the black stuff, they dream of a white one.
Happy Christmas.
There are times in our lives we will never forget.
I'm not going to field any more questions on the subject.
They shape us as a people.
This caused grave horror.
They define us as a nation in happy days or hard times.
We don't believe Ireland will be able to pay its debts.
This was a man that was too big for this world.
These are 20 moments that rocked Ireland. Thursday at 11:05 on 3.
7up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
Now, when I tell you, I was actually playing golf that day with a lot of my friends. 18 holes of fabulous golf. And when it was finished, we all decided to go in and naturally have our showers and go out and have the meal and a few drinks. So we're all in the showers, a lot of lads, you can imagine, all standing around, you know, they'd be all kind of, they'd have no inhibitions, you know, they'd be all there washing themselves and there'd be nobody covering themselves up. Do you understand? Like girls, it's difficult for you to understand because in a girl's shower, I'm sure there's a lot more decorum and privacy, if you like. You know, I've never been, never been. But anyway, we're all doing the shower and suddenly this fella Cahill points over. And as I looked around, I couldn't believe, but this fella was wearing a kind of a lady's, no, I'm not making this up. It was a lady's, a kind of, do you know them, kind of a sexy garment. What's the lady thing? A tongue. A tongue. Your woman says a tongue. He wasn't that bad. No, it wasn't a tongue. It was the other thing that ladies wear. Do you know the sexy kind of a black thing with the little things hanging down? What do you call? A gentleman here seems to have the answer. It's always a fella who gets that one. Suspenders, that's right, sir. Suspenders. But your man was actually in the shower wearing the suspender. I couldn't believe it. the full gear. And I didn't want to make fun of him because he could have. I didn't know. And I said to him, you don't mind me asking you, how long have you been wearing the ladies' sexy suspenders? And he says, ever since the wife found it on the back seat of my car. And the poor bad, like, I mean, when I think about it, this fella now has to wear it for the rest of his life, pretending his back is hurting or something like that, just because he was caught out. Happens all the time. Like, I had two pals out one morning, you know, they're 8 o'clock in the morning playing golf, and it was a beautiful day, and they were out on the 7th tee, and they're lining up the ball, and they look across to the 8th tee, across the fairway, and they can see on the 8th tee 2 women doing the same thing. They're lining up the ball and they're preparing to shoot, and then they stop for a minute and they're laughing, and the laughter is echoing across the fairway, and they're putting on lipstick and they're smoking a cigarette and the whole. So one fella says to the other, he says, would you ever go over, Noel? He says, go over there and tell them to either to move back and let us play through or to hurry up. And his pal makes a run across the fairgreen, gallops across the fairgreen, gets within 10 yards of the 2 women and stops dead. Bows his head and runs back. And the pal says, why didn't you go the whole way? He says, I couldn't get involved there. He says, one of those 2 women happens to be my wife. The other fella says, well, that's no harm. There's no harm in that. Your wife is entitled to go out and play golf like us. He says, I know. He says, but the one she's playing golf with is the one that I'm having an affair with at the moment. He said I couldn't go. So the other fella says, well, I'll go over. And he makes a run across the fairway. I think you're with me on this one. And he turns back as well. And he goes back to his friend and he says, because it's a small world. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, huh? It happens all the time, ladies and gentlemen. You know that. We live in a modern society now. Days change as you go along. Look at the prices today. Did anybody ever see the prices today? Absolutely ridiculous. And I like to buy, I'm being honest with you, I have a great, understanding of giving gifts. And my wife, Eileen, my wife, Eileen, in actual fact, I like to get her something nice, especially at Christmas. Because she's the best wife, I'll be honest now, she's the best wife that money could buy. And I decided this particular year to get her something nice. And I'm lying in the bed that morning, I'm demented, trying to think of what am I going to get my wife for Christmas. So I'm lying in the bed, and I said to my wife's sister, what? I was on the phone. I was on the phone to her, you dirty shit. You're a shower. You have minds like sewers. And I'm trying to figure out what I get. So I said, the best thing I'll do is I'll ask my wife when she comes in from work. So she came in it was about 7:30 in the morning, and I says to her, no, she works. No, there's a bit of night work for me. But anyway, I said to her, I said, what would you like for Christmas? I said, there's no need to think of the price. I said, it's a gift I'm getting you. Don't think of the price of it. What do you want? Anything. Oh, I want something with lots of diamonds in it. She said. So I got her a deck of cards. But she's luckier than most in a way, because we've a particular couple, they're friends of ours, and the husband in this couple wouldn't be, he wouldn't be my cup of tea, to be honest, because he's not very good to his wife. He's not giving, and he's not kind and everything. He's a bit of a gouger, to be honest, this guy. I remember I met him one day in town, and I says to him, how are you, John? I says, I haven't seen you for 6 months. What were you doing? He said, 6 months. And it was good enough for her. Now, this girl that I'm talking about, she's an oppressed housewife. And, you know, she tells my wife everything. They confide in each other. She was telling my wife, he came home one particular night and he'd quite a few drinks on him. And she was sitting up in the bed crying. And he came in and he saw her. She said, oh, God, oh, what am I going to do? He said, what are you crying for? She said, we've just had a burglar in the house. And he says, did he get anything? She says, yes. I thought it was you. This girl that I'm talking about, by the way, she told my wife how she got even with her husband. And it happened one night. It was a kind of a cold autumn evening. And she was sitting by the fire, which had very little fuel. There was a couple of briquettes and a log. There wasn't even a bit of coal. And she was sitting at that fire, wrapped up in a kind of a dressing gown, a house coat. And she was trying to make herself warm. And he comes down the stairs in a beautiful pinstripe suit and lovely tie and shiny shoes and a gabardine overcoat, and he's coming down the stairs like Lord Muck. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And she got up off that little sofa and she went out to the front door to him and she said, come here, you come here, you streaker, come here. You're the one that has me downtrodden in my life. And I'm not taking it anymore. He said, what's wrong? Are you not happy? She said, this is a kip. This is a kip I'm living in. I haven't it. She said, come here for a second. Come here. Have a look at the telly. Look at that TV. Yeah, it's like looking at Frosty the Snowman. Frosty the Snowman, there's no picture in it. I can barely see what's going on. And the bloody fridge, I can't even keep a choc ice in the fridge. It melts in the fridge. Because the fridge hasn't been working for 2 years. And on your way down to the front gate, have a look at all the paving slabs. Look at all those paving slabs on the way to the front gate. They're like the 10 Commandments. They're all broken. And he says, hold on, he says, now, as regards the television, he says, can you see written up here, Mr. Sony? So, but what about the fridge? He said the same thing. He says, I'm not an expert. He said, perhaps I didn't notice when I was shaving. He says, maybe it's written up here, Mr. Zanussi. But she says, I hope you break your... On the way down to the front gate, I hope you fall and break your promise. And he slams her. He said, hold on for a minute. Can you see written across me here, Mr. Roadstone? And he went off, and he came back at 2 o'clock in the morning. He got out of the taxi, he opened the front gate, and every paving slab was brand new. There was gravel in between them, a few plants. He couldn't believe it. He walked in the front door, walking by the sitting room, and there's his wife sprawled across the couch. And she has a glass of Chardonnay with icicles dripping from it. And he gets the shock of his life when he sees the TV she's looking at, and it's perfect picture. It's perfect. He says, what's going on? Well, she says, while you were out, I had a bit of a makeover. I decided I'd try to get a few things done. So I decided to go down to my friend Nancy, and I said to her, there's a disco on in the hotel, let's go down to it. And we went to it, and we met a couple of very nice, young, virile men. And they bought us a few drinks.
Yeah.
And later that night, I finished up and I was about to walk out, and the man that I was with happened to say, why are you leaving so soon? And I said, well, it's getting late for me to get the bus home, so I can't afford a taxi. And he says, sit down. He said, sit down, I'll get you a few more drinks, and I'll take you home in my Mercedes. And when he got me home, he tripped up coming up the passageway. And he said, I can't believe this place is so bad. He says, as it happens, I'm a handyman.
Yeah.
And he fixed every single paving slab. And he put lights down and all. And he came inside and he saw the state of the TV. And he went over and he twiddled a few knobs. And the picture on the TV came up brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then he asked me if he could have a cold beer, and I said, you could, except my fridge had broke. And he had it fixed in 5 minutes. Oh, is that right? Yeah. He said, what did this man charge you for all of this? Well, she said he actually didn't take money. He decided to take a benefit in kind. What kind? Well, as it happens, he gave me a choice. He said he would accept either of the following two. Either I could bake him a really nice cake with icing on it, or I could take him upstairs and bring him on a tour of the front room. Is that right? Yeah. He said, as a matter of interest, what kind of a cake did you bake for this nice man? And she says, come here, she says, do you see Mr. Kipling written?
7up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
Someone needs a number. Need a number nifty? Call 11850.
Think of a German car. Think of a car with 3 adjustable drive settings. Think of a car with intelligent adaptive lights. With extraordinary driving dynamics. Think of a car with a spectacular design. Now, think of the car you weren't thinking of. The Opel Insignia, the best car we've ever built.
Opel. Wir leben Autos.
Don't forget to turn the lights off.
I won't.
Even at the home of the black stuff, they dream of a white one.
Happy Christmas.
If there's one thing you won't find at the Curry sale, it's hot air. But you will find a Samsung 40-inch LED TV for only €479. Save €220. Or a 32-inch Samsung LED TV for just €349. The Curry sale starts tonight at 7 p.m. on currys.ie and in old stores 9 a.m. St. Stephen's Day.
Girls from all over Ireland are flirting and having fun on the phone right now. There's lots of genuine girls looking for friendship, to chat and have fun. You can call them now on 1550 700 700. If you're a real man looking for some good company, then this is the only party in town. So what are you waiting for? Come and join in the fun. Call 1550 700 700. You never know what might happen.
When you buy Fairy, Flash or Febreze, you help us support Make-A-Wish Foundation and grant wishes for children with life-threatening conditions. Even if that wish is just to be a Bossy Boots for one day. To help, visit Make-A-Wish online.
As a skin specialist, the products I recommend have to be proven to work. That's why I recommend Head & Shoulders for unbeatable dandruff protection. And now Head & Shoulders lets you try it for yourself. This is a proof strip. It's simple. Head Head & Shoulders for unbeatable dandruff protection that's making heads happier.
Is the latest in anti-aging really the greatest?
Women around the world challenge that with Olay. 20 million women chose Total Effects, including her and her. The time-tested powerhouse with 7 age-defying effects. It's one I trust, the one we chose, the one and only Total Effects from Olay.
Cosmopolitan readers choose Total Effects Day Cream too, voting it the ultimate anti-aging moisturizer.
Some people like strong tastes, whilst others prefer something more gentle. So we've developed new Listerine Zero. It's an alcohol-free mouthwash that gives your mouth a powerful Listerine clean with a less intense taste. New Listerine Zero. Powerful deep clean, less intense taste.
7up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
You know, as we sit here, we're safe. I want you to know that. You're safe, brand new building. But it's only when you stick your snot outside the door. It's only when you go outside the door that you're being watched. As we sit here tonight, there are 93 satellites orbiting the Earth. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're up to no good. We are being watched. And the last one that went up, the last Apollo one that went up, he could just hit a button like that, and you could be sitting in your car in a traffic jam, as you do, picking your... You know the way people sitting in the car, and he just hits the button, and he can zoom in on the windscreen of your car. That's the technology. In fact, he can even hit another button, tax disc. He can look at the tax disc on your car in your town, and he would know sooner than the Garda Síochána whether your car is taxed or not. That's the technology that they have in America today. And Bin Laden escaped on a donkey. When he came over the border from Afghanistan with your man on his back and his tail was up in the air, they didn't even get his number. And it's not a new thing. Can anybody remember the first satellite that ever went into space? Can anybody remember the name? Come on, somebody tell me. Way back, Sputnik, who said it? Sputnik #1. That satellite went up somewhere around 1960, and it was up there in space, and it was watching us. And those Russians, by the way, and I'm being honest about this, they had spies. They had a spy in every country in Europe, including Ireland. Now, you're probably saying to yourselves, how do I know all? I'll tell you, I read it in an article in a magazine on the plane, and I forget what, it was The Messenger. And it said that this Russian spy was in Ireland, and they needed to make contact with him. And they couldn't phone him up from Russia because they were afraid somebody might tap the phone. So they decided to send their top KGB agent, Ivan Akharov. And they called him into the office of the KGB and they said, Ivan, we want to give you top secret message that you must deliver to our top secret spy in Ireland. You will get on board Aeroflot flight 229-644-312-7755293. The number for the flight was longer than the plane. And when you get on this flight, you will fly to Shannon, Ireland, and you will rent a car from Dan Dooley Car Rental. And you will drive car from Shannon Airport over to County Kerry, to town of Caher Saivin. The way you know it is him is by simply saying to him the secret code which will make him respond. You will say, the brown cow has left the green field. So that was the message. And that guy arrived, rented the car, went across over to Kerry. He's in Caher Saivin, and they said, all you have to do when you get there, to find him is ask anybody, where is Murphy? Murphy in cars again. So we parked the car. And he's walking down the street to ask for Murphy. The first pub he sees written over it, Murphy. Beside the pub was a florist shop, Murphy's Flower. Across the street, Murphy's Laundrette, Murphy's Dry Cleaners. The bakery was Murphy's, the butcher was Murphy's. The fish and chip shop was Murphy's. Everywhere was Murphy. So he decides, how will I find Murphy with all these people? And he got back into the car to drive back to Shannon to give up. And this is where the story took a turn. He's only 50 yards outside Carsavine. And he looks and sees in a field on his right a farmer ploughing. And the Russian stopped the car and he got out and he looks over. He says, Farmer! Farmer, I want you to come over to me. I'll give you higher talk here. You'll tell you fucking who you are. I want you to come here to me. I have a question for you. I'll give you the credit here. But anyway, the farmer came over to him. And the Russian looks at him and he says, I am looking for Murphy. Huh? Should you put up to our arse and Murphy down here? Sure, in the town alone, sure, the Garda sergeant is Murphy, and the parish priest is Murphy, the curate is Murphy as it happens, the woman that runs the post office is Murphy, the lad that delivers the turf is Murphy, and sure God, I'm Murphy myself. And that's when the Russian got the inspiration. He kind of said to himself, this could be my lucky man, this could be the man. And he stood back and he looked straight into his eye. Only one eye. He looks straight into his eye and he says, the brown cow has left the green field. And the farmer says, you're looking for Murphy the spy. I have a little story I want to tell you. It's just a little human nature story. My late Aunt Mary, and I love her very dearly, my Uncle Paddy, both passed away last year. But they were well up towards their 90s, and we used to take them out for a spin in the car and bring them out for lunch. But we decided to stay over with them one night down in the country, you see. And we were there with them and we had our tea and we were looking at the television. The two of them were sitting on the little sofa together like Darby and Joan. And around 10 o'clock in the evening, she decides to get up, you see. I'm getting up now. Wedgie. I'm going up the stairs. And she went upstairs, and Uncle Paddy is left there on his own, and we're having a chat with him, and about 10 minutes later, we hear boom, 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 a knock on the floor above. Paddy! Paddy! I said, yes, what's wrong with you? Said, would you like to come up the stairs and make love to me? And he said, I can't do both. And the following night, by the way, the two of them are sitting down, and again, she kind of says to him, she says, Paddy, I have a bit of a longing. Why are you longing? Would you ever go out to the kitchen and get me a bowl of ice cream? I will, of course. He says, I'll write it down for you. And not at all. I remember that. And while you're there, sprinkle a few walnuts over it. 2 walnuts. And let me write it down for you, because I know your memory isn't the way it doesn't matter, I can remember. You want a bowl of ice cream and a few nuts sprinkled over. And while you're out there, Pat, would you ever pour a drop of that chocolate sauce over the nuts? But I have a notebook here, I'll write it down in case, I won't forget. It's only ice cream and a few nuts and a bit of chocolate sauce, but you get it, will you? And while you're at it, Pat, would you ever stick a couple of wafer biscuits in the top of it? I will. But I'll write it down, because your memory now is not like it used to be. I'm not an idiot, sure. I remember ice cream, a few nuts and chocolate sauce and a couple of wafers. And he went out into the kitchen, and I'm not kidding you, he was out there for 45 minutes. 45 minutes, and we were wondering what happened. And the next minute, the door opened from the kitchen, and he comes in with a tray. And he's walking over to her, and he puts the tray down in front of her on the coffee table, and I'm not kidding. On the tray was a big white plate, and on the plate, I'll never forget, 2 rashers. There was 2 rashers on the plate, 2 sausages, a fried egg, and a half a grilled tomato. And he put it down in front of her. You dirty looking fucking Egypt. Jesus, look at that. He says, well, what did I forget now? She said, you forgot the toast. You couldn't make it up, you couldn't. But it's great, it really is. I remember getting my wife a present years ago. Again, I'm going back to value for money. About 20 odd years ago, before we ever moved over to America. And I remember one particular Christmas, she said, this year, she says, do you know what I'd love? I'd love a dog. So I says, I'll get you a dog. That's a normal enough present, if that's what you want. And I was hoping, probably selfish, but I was hoping that she'd want what I'd call a decent dog. A kind of a big fella, like a Labrador maybe, or a German Shepherd, or even a big mongrel. I'm hoping she'd want a big, I wanted a dog that a lad my size could take out for a walk without feeling like an idiot. But anyway, that's not what she wanted. She went the opposite way, and it turns out she wanted what you call the small little, you know, I can't have a senior moment on me now, and I just can't. This fella, he'd be a cross between a Yorkshire Terrier and a rat. Do you know the dog I'm talking about? No, not a Shih Tzu. A Chihuahua. So she wanted a Chihuahua, and I says, I'll get it for you. I wasn't happy about it, but anyway. So I went into town to the pet shop, and I got the last Chihuahua they had in the litter. It wasn't a boy Chihuahua, no, it was a, what do you call a bitch. So anyway, I got the bitch, anyway, and I brought it home to her that evening in my top pocket. You see, I just wanted it. So I gave her to her, and I says, there you are now, enjoy it. And I wasn't happy about the idea, to be honest. I didn't want to have, you know, a dog under my feet. And especially for the first 3 months, you know, as you know, they leave surprises all over the house. So I didn't want it. Not that I would be unkind to an animal in any way. I would always be kind to animals. I'd never, ever be unkind. I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm not looking for, you know, kudos for doing this, but I've given a lot of my money over the years to sick animals. I have. And I have... No applause, please. I didn't realise they were sick when I was backing them. But anyway, what happened was, I have now got this Chihuahua with my wife. So one day my wife was out walking the bitch along the road. And next minute, the bitch walks into the bus stop. And she pulled the bitch back from the bus stop, and she walks down another bit, and the bitch walks into a parking sign. And when my wife examined, I thought the dog perhaps had lost her vision. And my wife says, it's nothing to do with her vision. The hair is at the ground down over her eyes. And as sure as I'm standing here, hadn't the hair grown down over the dog's eyes, and the bitch couldn't see where she was going. So my wife cut the hair off, and everything was fine. She did a little fringe, and then 6 months later, back comes the hair, and the dog walks straight into the lamppost again. And she could cut it again. And she was cutting it for a while, and it was our next door neighbour that said to her one day, there's no need to keep cutting, don't have to keep cutting the dog's hair. There's an easier way of doing it. Tomorrow, when you're in town, go into the pharmacy and go in and ask Mr. Collins for a tube of Emac. And you rub it in the dog's forehead, and the hair will fall out naturally. She went in the following day on her bicycle. She cycled into the town, and she went into the pharmacy, and she says, good morning, Mr. Collins. I wonder, is it possible that I could have a tube of Emac? She didn't want to broadcast it because there was people in the chemist. He said, certainly, man, no problem. And he gave her the tube of Emac. And she was walking out of the shop, and suddenly he shouts after her, by the way, Mrs. Grace, in all the years you're coming into me here, I've noticed you never bought that particular product in the past. And he says, just in case you don't get a chance to read the instructions on the label, he says, just keep in mind that it's very potent. And he says, just remember, the first time you use it, don't wash your legs for about 48 hours. And my wife, through her embarrassment, forgot herself, and she says, she says, I won't be rubbing it on me legs. She says, I'll be rubbing it on me chihuahua. And everybody in the chemist. And then to make matters worse, he shouts after. He says, well, in that case, he says, you better not ride the bicycle for a couple of weeks.
Seven Up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
He escaped death.
What's your name?
But can't remember how.
I don't know.
The only thing he does know is how to stay alive. Matt Damon in The Bourne Identity, Christmas Day at 9 on 3.
Girls from all over Ireland are flirting and having fun on the phone right now. To join them, call 1550 69 69 69 or text FLIRT to 57333. Lots of genuine girls are looking for fun, friendship, and maybe more. Call the party line now on 1550 69 69 69 and listen to hundreds of personal ads anytime.
Still think that's all just a bit of a laugh? Think again. Visit drinkaware.ie, rethinking our drinking.
Let's face it, everyone who uses your loo is secretly judging it. So don't let your Rimblock's germy cage lower your score. For up to 1,000 flushes, Harpic Hygienic helps keep your loo smelling fresh and looking like new. Harpic Hygienic, like a new loo every time.
Coming home for Christmas is always something special. Christmas memories with ESB Electric Ireland.
I always wanted a red bike, And I remember I must have been only about 3 or 4 going down on Christmas morning, and there it was under the Christmas tree. A lot of my friends had to move away, and they will all be coming home for Christmas this year, and there's like 3 of them who moved away during the year, so it'd be nice for everyone to get together this year. Well, it's hard to beat 2011 because that was the year I got married, so I think the thing I'm most looking forward to in 2012 is to stay married, be happy and healthy. Getting together with family, there's nothing nicer, because throughout the year, I think the way things are with people working hard, you don't get a chance to spend time with your family. Christmas and New Year always revolves around the theatre, children roaring up, oh yes you are, oh no you're not, and that whole feeling of just a wonderful Christmas spirit with panto and children and New Year celebrations.
Coming home for Christmas is always something special. Christmas memories with ESB Electric Ireland.
Sometimes the best thing about going away is feeling like you've never left home. There's nothing like sleeping in your own bed, unless you're in one of ours. You owe it to yourself to enjoy the finer things in life. Dare Manor, Ireland's premier home from home. But home never felt this good.
We Irish are passionate about our rasher sausages and ham. We love the taste and quality of truly traditional Irish pork.
That's why Truly Irish is 100% Irish. Not only supporting 8,000 Irish jobs, but also top quality, locally produced Irish pork products.
With 82% pork sausages and rashers that taste great, aren't full of water and don't shrivel away.
Truly Irish, not just a name.
It's our guarantee.
The winter sale starts St. Stephen's Day in all Brown Thomas and BT2 stores from 9 a.m. See brownthomas.com for details. Whatever you do, don't miss it.
7up Winter Wonderland at Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin sponsors Christmas on TV3.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to someone very, very special. He's been with me for a long, long time. Give a big, big welcome to me old pal, Butler. Hey, what are you still doing here? This is my bit. Well, I'll leave it with you, so. Right. And you that are looking at me. I had a very tough upbringing. I really had. I can never forget all those days, weekends, that my mommy and daddy used to send me up to me granny and me granddad, and I had to stay with them for the weekend. And it was so cold in that cemetery. we were so poor. I was breastfed by me granny. I'll never forget it. I remember at Christmas time, the only possible thing that you could get through Christmas with was if you got a toot-a-toot to play with. And a toot-a-toot was something that I can always remember. It's the little cardboard thing that's left when the toilet roll is finished. And that's how it got its name. And you could get 6 weeks out of that before it got really soggy. And I can always remember, because toys were different. When I think of what they get today, I said to a bloke recently, a little fella, and I said to him, so did you write to Santy? He said, no, I sent him a text. And I said to him, so what are you getting for Christmas? He said, I'm getting I'm getting a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox and an electric scooter with an engine and a laptop and a plasma television for my bedroom wall and a surprise. How could you surprise a child like that? We know we'd surprise him. We'd take it back. I'd take all the stuff back and I'd really give him a surprise. You see, when I was small, I was the little boy. I was the original little boy that Santa Claus that's the truth. Santa Claus forgot. Yeah, he did. I remember one Christmas, we got no food. Honest to God. I was walking around the street and you could smell all the Christmas dinner smell coming from every house except ours. Yeah, and I knew from early that year, I knew from October that we weren't getting a turkey. Yeah, because I see me mammy buying a chest expander for the budgie. And then about 3 days before Christmas, me dad got myself and my sister and he took us out on the bus and I said, this is it, we must be going in to town, to Thailand, in Pims, in town, to see Santi. I'll never forget. And he brought us on the bus. And the bus came to Harold's Cross. And my father got off the bus with the two of us. And he brought us inside the gates of Mount Jerome Cemetery. And he showed us Santa's grave. My daddy didn't love me altogether. I'm sure you were the same. Did your dad ever thump you? And then he'd say, you'll thank me for that one day. You wouldn't hang him for it then. We had an Australian teacher in the school one day, and he was like, "Good on, mates, you know, get on with that." And he produced a boomerang, and he says, "Now," he says, "today I'm going to throw the boomerang into you guys in the classroom." And one fella said, "So, will it come back to you?" And one fella said, "Well, if it hits me, it will." They were great day. Our teacher one day said, "Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our geometry class and we're going to ask Rasha O'Callaghan." And Rasha came up and he said, "Now Rasha, I want you to draw on the board now to draw a square." And Rasha went up and he kind of went shh, 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 shh. He said, "That's very, very good. Now draw a triangle." Okay, so, and he went shh, shh, shh. He said, "That's great. And now I want you to draw a rectangle." And he went, very, very good. And he said, "I want you now to draw a ring." He said, "Okay, so." Well, he said, "That's not a ring." He said, "No, it's a boxing ring." He was trying to hurry up the classes, and he announced that he was doing 2 classes now at the one time. Drawing and religion at the same time. And he says, "Now, class, I want you all to draw on your copybooks what in your mind reminds you and depicts the flight into Egypt. So I want you all to draw." And we were all drawing and the whole, and the little girl in the front, little Angela, he went down, he says, "Now, Angela, what are you drawing?" I am drawing a picture of Holy God." He said, "Well, Angela, how can you draw a picture of Holy God?" He said, "Nobody knows what Holy God looks like." Well, she said, "They will when I'm finished this picture." And he looks at the other fella. Razor Mulligan, have you drawn the flight into Egypt? "Yes, sir." And up he comes, as proud as could be, and he has the drawing there of the flight into Egypt. And he was cheating a bit because it was just a plane, an airplane on the drawing. And the teacher said, what is this? And so he said, that is the flight into Egypt. Very good. He said, and who are the three people at the back of the plane? And he said, so that is Joseph, Mary, and the baby Jesus. Very good. He said, and who's the person in the front here of the plane? He said, that's Pontius the Pilate. He was stupid. And then he said, little boy here, Pockets Malone, come forward. And Pockets comes up with his drawing, and I have to say, he definitely put a bit of effort into his drawing. You could see on his drawing, there was three people in it, very clear. There was a kind of a horse. There was a little spot beside the horse, and there was a load of pieces of Toblerone all along the ground. Triangle Toblerone. And the teacher said, what is this? So that is the flight into Egypt. Well, he said, can you explain it to me? Yes, sir, he says, the three people here, that's Joseph, Mary, and the infant Jesus. And this is the donkey. And they're all the pyramids in Egypt, all along there. Very, very good. And he said, what is this little dot, little spot here? And he said, so that is the flea. He said, what has a flea got to do with the flight into Egypt? Well, he said, didn't the angel Gabriel come to Joseph and he said, you're to take Mary and the child and flee into Egypt? So very, very much.
And we're keeping it with the comedy this Christmas Eve. It's the Graham Norton Show next. He's in the festive mood with a Christmas special. That's the Graham Norton Show after the break.
Winter Wonderland featuring Ireland's largest covered ice rink, free Santa visits, Christmas markets and a host of spectacular rides.
Girls from all over Ireland are flirting and having fun on the phone right now. To join them, call 1550 69 69 69 or text FLIRT to 57333. Lots of genuine girls are looking for fun, friendship and maybe more. Call the party line now on 1550 69 69 69 and listen to hundreds of personal ads anytime.
CK1 Shock, the two new fragrances
for him and for her.
the way it moves, the way it makes you feel. Everything about an Oral-B Power Brush is simply revolutionary. Our precision clean brush head cleans in 3 directions to power away 5 times more plaque along the gum line as a regular manual brush. For a dentist clean feeling every day. Oral-B Power Brushes. Join the revolution at oralb.co.uk. The Oral-B Triumph 5000 is ranked the #1 powered toothbrush by The Gadget Show. And right now, all Oral-B Power Brushes are half price.
At Cost Plus Sofas, doors open December 27th at 10 a.m. for the winter sale. And we're celebrating with €850 of savings coupons. Look for them in the paper, online or in the store. Amazing store-wide savings. And finance all interest-free till March 2013. Winter sale starts the 27th of December. Savings coupons first few days. Don't miss out. In Cost Plus Sofas and beds, etc. In all Cost Plus Sofas.
You might think there's very little we can do to make the world's best-selling car, the Toyota Corolla, any more popular. Well, what about 3 years free servicing when you register any new Toyota by January 31st? Yes, that's 3 years free servicing on all our cars, including the Corolla. Toyota, the best-built cars in the world.
Well, with just 15 minutes to go until we're into Christmas Day, I'll take this opportunity to wish all our viewers a very happy Christmas, and thanks for tuning into TV3 this Christmas Eve. Right now we've got comedy with The Graham Norton Show.
Seven Up Winter Wonderland, the most dazzling winter park ever to visit Ireland. Royal Hospital Kilmainham, Dublin, December 8th to January 8th.
Ooh, I'm here in the North Pole, just getting all of Santa's reindeers ready. Hang on a minute, they're stampeding away. Where are they running off to? Bedtime!